Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I have a bunch of updates to share about Donald Trump's coup clowns. Before I jump into the details, though, I want to address something I keep seeing in the comments. People keep saying things like, oh, this doesn't matter anymore because Trump's just going to pardon this person or that person. Here's the thing: Trump cannot pardon state crimes. He cannot pardon people who are convicted for state crimes. His pardon power only extends to federal cases and convictions. And a lot of what I share with all of you also has to do with civil cases. That means it is not a criminal case. That means the person isn't being prosecuted for a crime. They have harmed someone, an individual, on a personal level. So, for instance, defamation cases are civil. So Trump has absolutely zero power to do anything about those types of cases. So I hope that clears things up because, we all need some schadenfreude here. We need some joy where we can find it. So don't rain on our parade. Anyway, having said that, attorney and Kraken lady Sidney Powell was recently ordered to hand over a very large trove of documents in the defamation case filed against her by Dominion Voting System. So the court ordered Powell to relinquish any documents or communication that could prove or disprove, hopefully on her side of things, or that's what she's hoping for, malice. I mean, we're hoping it proves that, yes, she did this maliciously, because that's an important factor in a defamation case. You have to prove not just that the other person lied about you, but that they intentionally lied about you. Even though they knew that what they were saying was false, they did it anyway. That is malice. So, and if you can't prove that, then you are unlikely to win your defamation case. The court also ordered Powell to hand over her financial documents. And that's likely just to determine how much she can afford or how much she should pay if she's found guilty. So accountability could still be coming for her. She has gotten off very lightly in every regard. In Georgia, in her home state, I mean, she has faced almost no consequences. And again, not a thing that Trump can do about this case because it's civil. This was not a criminal case brought by the feds. Next up is really delicious news about America's defendant, Rudy Giuliani. His attorneys are ditching him. This is in the Ruby Freeman and Shea Moss defamation case. And no, you guys are not having deja vu. I know I've said this before, but this is just the latest in a growing list of attorneys who no longer wish to represent Giuliani. Yesterday, his attorneys, Kenneth Caruso and David, I think it's pronounced Lepkowski, they notified the court they no longer will be representing Giuliani. And they cited a New York rule that allows attorneys to withdraw from a case when their client is, quote, or when their client insists upon taking action with which the lawyer has a fundamental disagreement, presents a claim or defense that is not warranted under existing law and cannot be supported by good faith argument, or the client fails to cooperate in the representation or otherwise renders the representation unreasonably difficult for the lawyer to carry out employment effectively. So what's really funny is that Giuliani didn't even know. He wasn't even aware that they were kicking him to the curb. His spokesperson told a news outlet, quote, "Surely Mr. Caruso would talk to the mayor or at the very least inform him of such a decision." No, I mean, sounds like they don't respect him enough to tell him to pound sand. So we had that fun news, but there's more. So Giuliani claims that he is too broke to even buy food. In a Twitter post, Giuliani called out the judge that presides over this defamation case. He also mentioned the law firm for Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss. And he said that they're, quote, trying to inhibit me from making a living. They seized my measly checking account so I can't buy food. Help me fight. And then along with this whining, Giuliani posted a link to a Give, Send, Go fundraising page.
Help me, I'm poor. No.
And so the page says, America's mayor, Rudy Giuliani, has been persecuted to the highest level through lawfare due to his support of President Donald Trump. Therefore, we are raising funds to go directly to his legal defense. I mean, I can hear the Sarah McLachlan song in the background right now, right? Please give what you can. This poor man is out in the cold. He has no food, no shelter, no water, no one to love him. Yeah, no, not because you support Donald Trump, because you're a liar, because you lied about people and put their lives in jeopardy. Kind of forgot to mention that on his Give, Send, Go page. Anyway, as of last night, I looked at it, and he has raised over $122,000. It is stunning and truly sickening that so many people are willing to give Giuliani cash when he himself refuses to go after Trump for the $2 million in legal fees that he's owed. Remember that. He could easily go get $2 million from the RNC and from Donald Trump because of the legal work he did, and I put, air quotes around work, after the 2020 election, and he has refused to do that. And this guy, remember, is jetting around all over the US on private planes. He is balked at and fought selling his 2 homes worth millions of dollars. And what I'd like to know is, can the court now seize this money, this Give, Send, Go money? So if there's any attorneys or judges watching, please, drop a comment. I'd really like to know about that. And I also wanted to mention the judge gave Moss and Freeman the green light to subpoena Giuliani's accounting firm. So they'll be able to review his tax returns. And the reason being, you might remember, Giuliani claims he gifted his 4 Yankees World Series rings to his son, Andrew. So that happened a couple of weeks back that they made that claim. So with his tax returns, Moss and Freeman might be able to discern and confirm if that actually happened or if he's still claiming those rings as property. So we'll see what happens with that. I also have news about a related case. So the Attorney General in Arizona, Chris Mays, she is saying she has no intention of dropping the fake electors case in that state. As I'm sure you guys remember, there were 18 of Trump's allies who were indicted by the grand jury earlier this year, and that included Giuliani. And so AG Mays told an MSNBC host, quote, "A grand jury in the state of Arizona decided that these individuals who engaged in an attempt to overthrow our democracy in 2020 should be held accountable. So we won't be cowed. We won't be intimidated." And again, this is a state case. So, Trump can try to influence state authorities. He can apply pressure, but he doesn't have the ability or the power. The Attorney General of the United States has no power over a state case to end this case. So that's good news. And in related news to the related news, the judge who was presiding over the fake electors case, Bruce Cohen, he has recused himself. Now, this pisses me off. Some of his emails were leaked to Trump allies. And in these emails, it showed Cohen defending Kamala Harris, as well as his female colleagues from the right-wing attacks. So in one email, Judge Cohen wrote, quote, "It does matter if your chromosomes are made up of XY. It matters even more if your skin color is characterized as white or Caucasian. We must speak out. We must tell those within our circles of influence that this shit must stop now. We cannot allow our female colleagues to feel as if they stand alone when there are those who may intimate that their ascension was anything other than based upon exceptionalism. We cannot allow our colleagues who identify as being a person of color to stand alone when there are those may claim that their ascension was an equity hire rather than based solely upon exceptionalism. And then he also told his male colleagues, quote, I have been reflecting on Martin Niemöller's brilliant post WW2, World War II essay, known as First They Came For. You guys have heard of that. First they came for this group, then I said nothing, then they came for this group, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, he went on to say, while the subject matter of his commentary was one of the most horrific periods in world history, its instruction applies equally to present day events. When we cannot or do not stand with others, the words of Martin Niemöller are no longer a historic reference to the atrocities of World War II. Those words describe the present. Now, of course, Donald Trump's allies completely twisted his words. They painted him as a partisan liberal. They also said, oh, look, he's comparing Republicans to Nazis. He clearly said, you know, there is no comparison, but yes, we have to stand up for people. Otherwise, yeah, there will be no one to stand up for us. In his recusal, Judge Cohen said his statements were, quote, not reflective of bias, but rather a cry for decency and respect. But he felt that it was best for him to step aside because, the subject matter or the flavor of the motions that were submitted by the defendant's attorneys, which he described as beyond the pale. That was his direct quote. Now, would a MAGA judge recuse if the situation was reversed? Hell no. We all know that, right? We witnessed it. We saw it firsthand with Margaritaville judge Aileen Cannon. Her bias was as blatant as the nose on her face, and yet she refused to step back from Trump's case. So this is the problem I have with liberals. They are too damn weak. This is why we need more true progressives who are willing to fight fire with fire. It's just unacceptable, right? Would never happen if the situation, if the roles were reversed. Anyway, I have a bit of good news regarding Trump's former chief of staff, Mark Meadows. The U.S. Supreme Court refused to even hear his argument about moving his Georgia RICO case to federal court. And remember, just because Trump can't be prosecuted while he's the sitting president doesn't mean anything for his coup clowns. They are not off the hook. And again, being that this is a state case, Trump has absolutely no power to stop it. Speaking of which, sloppy Steve Bannon was back in court. He was in a New York court talking about when his state trial will begin for his We Build the Wall scam. As you guys all know, he and some co-conspirators were charged with crimes. First, they were charged with federal crimes for scamming Trump supporters out of millions of dollars. They used that money not for the wall, which everyone said they can't build a wall. They can't, go and take federal land or take private property to build this wall. So everybody knew it was a scam up front, except for Trump supporters. But anyway, they used Trump supporter money to fund their lavish lifestyles. They bought expensive cars, they went on trips, a bunch of other goodies that they bought. Well, one co-conspirator, you might recall, he pleaded guilty and testified against the others. The other one was found guilty by a jury. Bannon, on the other hand, was pardoned. He got a pardon from Trump at the end of his first term. But that was for the federal case. Well, again, Trump cannot do a damn thing about this New York case. So Bannon will be on trial sometime in the near future. For now, though, he's threatening officials. He was outside court And he told reporters, quote, "The hunted are about to become the hunter." So there you go. They're all emboldened because of Trump's win. We will see. We'll see what happens, how this all shakes out. But I'll keep you posted on all of this. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.